feel that pull.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that curiosity about what might be hidden just beneath the surface.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you've seen someone sweeping a detector at the park and thought, huh, that looks kind of interesting.
Yeah, I get that.
But then you start looking into it, and bam, suddenly there are like a million options and price points that just make your head spin.
It can be overwhelming, for sure.
Okay, so let's unpack this a bit, because today we're diving deep into a question that's probably on your mind. How can you actually get into metal detecting without, spending a fortune?
Well, that's a really smart place to start, actually. It's totally natural to want to explore a new hobby without a huge upfront commitment.
Right.
And that's exactly what we're focusing on today. We're going to take a really close look at two very popular, very accessible metal detectors. The Bounty Hunter Tracker the First and the Tracker Pro.
Okay.
Think of this as your fast track, sort of, to figuring out which one of these could be your ideal first step into the pretty exciting world of metal detecting.
Absolutely. And to help us navigate this world of, buried treasures, we're relying on a fantastic review from Paul Edgerton.
Ah, good source.
Yeah. Now, Paul isn't just someone who kind of dabbles. He's a seasoned detectorist. We're talking like 15 years of solid experience under his belt. Swung coils over all sorts of interesting places. So we're getting some truly grounded insights from someone who's really been there, done that.
Exactly. Edgerton's experience, it just gives us a really practical understanding of what these detectors can actually do in the real world, beyond just the manufacturer's claims.
Good point. So let's introduce our contenders then. First up, representing the analog world, we have the Bounty Hunter Tracker 3.
The classic.
Totally. This is often thought of as the quintessential starter detector. Picture a really reliable pickup truck, gets the job done, dependable, not a lot of fancy extras.
Right.
The Tracker 3 is kind of the workhorse of the entry-level scene, and honestly, it's probably been responsible for finding a staggering number of forgotten coins over the years.
Oh, for sure. It's really a testament to its fundamental design that it's still so popular. Sometimes that simplicity is a real advantage,
Yeah.
In this design, it's stood the test of time.
Totally agree. And then entering the digital arena, we've got the Bounty Hunter Tracker Pro.
The upgrade.
Kind of. Think of it like taking that same dependable pickup and giving it a bit of a 21st century makeover.
Okay.
It's got an LCD screen, some more modern features.
Yeah.
It's all geared towards making the hobby maybe a bit more approachable, especially when you're just starting out.
What's really interesting, though, is that both of these machines, they manage to stay within a very accessible price range.
Yeah, that's key.
Both typically cost less than, $200, making them a great option for anyone who's curious but maybe doesn't want to make a huge initial investment.
Precisely. So our goal for this deep dive today, is pretty straightforward, really get into the key differences between these two detectors. By the time we're done, you should have a much clearer idea of which one might fit how you like to learn, and maybe what you're hoping to discover on your own metal detecting adventures.
Sounds good. Let's maybe start by looking at how they actually perform where it matters most, when they're searching in the ground.
Perfect. So yeah, let's talk capability. The Tracker 4. It comes with an 8-inch search coil, operates at a frequency of 6.6 kilohertz.
Okay.
Now, according to Edgerton, this particular frequency hits a really nice sweet spot, finds a good balance between how deep the detector can reach and how sensitive it is to different kinds of metal targets. He even mentions digging up Civil War bullets at around 8 inches deep with the Tracker 4.
Wow.
Which, for a detector at this price point, that's pretty impressive for a beginner, right?
It really is. That 6.6 kilohertz frequency, it's generally quite versatile. It tends to work well for finding a range of stuffed coins, various metals, older relics, and that 8-inch coil gives decent coverage with each sweep, but it's still sensitive enough for smaller items.
Okay. Now, the Tracker Pro, it takes a slightly different path. It's got a slightly smaller coil, 7 inches, but operates at a higher frequency, 7.69 kilohertz.
Right. A bit higher.
Now, the main benefit here, according to Edgerton, isn't necessarily about, extreme depth. It's more about its ability to pick out good targets even when there's a lot of junk metal in the ground.
Ah, the trashy areas.
Exactly. He shares this great anecdote about being at an old playground.
Oh, yeah.
And how the Tracker Pro helped him isolate an idea gold ring from, and he joked about this, every single pull tab that had ever been dropped there.
Huh. I can picture that.
Right. Anyone who's thought about detecting can probably imagine how frustrating it'd be to constantly dig up trash. So that filtering ability, That's a big plus.
Oh, definitely. That higher frequency plus the detector's ability to process signals for target discrimination, basically, its ability to try and identify different metals and ignore the junk that really shines in those trashy spots.
Makes sense.
Being able to filter out signals from, aluminum pull tabs, bottle caps, it saves a lot of time, prevents unnecessary digging, which can be super helpful for someone just starting out, still learning the ropes.
Okay, let's shift gears then. Let's talk about maybe the most obvious difference when you first look at these two.
Yeah.
How you actually use them and how easy they are to learn.
The interface, yeah.
The Tracker 4, like we said, proudly analog.
Yeah.
No fancy digital displays, just a few knobs you turn.
Mm-hmm.
You've got one for sensitivity, how sensitive it is, another for discrimination, that filtering ability, and 3 different hunting modes.
Pretty straightforward controls.
Yeah, but for someone totally new, all those knobs without a screen telling you what's up might seem a little daunting.
Could be, initially.
But Edgerton makes a really interesting point here. He suggests that once you really get the hang of interpreting the different sounds the Tracker 4 makes.
Ah, the audio signals?
Exactly. You can actually become really skilled at knowing what might be underground, potentially even faster than someone who's just staring at a screen.
That's a really insightful point. With an analog detector, the audio feedback becomes much more nuanced. Experienced users, they learn to recognize subtle changes in tone, pitch,
Right.
which can give clues about the metal type, maybe even how deep it is. It becomes a more hands-on, almost intuitive way of detecting.
Intuitive, yeah, that's a good word for it. Now, the Tracker Pro, on the other hand, it boasts that LCD display.
Yep.
Shows you a likely ID of the target before you even dig,
The visual aid.
which can be a real game changer for shortening that initial learning period. Edgerton talks about seeing beginners go from feeling totally lost to confidently finding and digging up coins in, like, well under an hour.
Wow, that quick.
All because of that visual info. You see a little picture or a number on the screen, gives you an idea of what the detector thinks it found.
That's definitely helpful.
However, he does add this funny little caveat. Admits he still digs those questionable signals sometimes, no matter what the screen says.
Spoken like a true detectorist.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Because, as he points out, isn't part of the excitement the surprise? You never know for sure until you dig it up.
That really highlights the experience factor, doesn't it? Target ID on a screen is incredibly useful, no doubt, but it's not always 100% perfect.
Right.
And sometimes those weird signals lead to the most interesting finds. The screen's a great guide, but ultimately, developing your ear for the sounds, trusting your instincts, that's key to getting really good.
All right, let's talk dollars and cents. Something
Wow.
important to everyone. How much do these cost? What do you get for your money?
The bottom line.
Yep. The Bounty Hunter Tracker, the face, typically sells for around $79.
$79. Wow.
Edgerton actually calls this price a steal for the performance it offers. He even mentions knowing people who've been using the exact same tracker, the FIM model, for over 20 years. No major problems.
20 years. That's incredible durability.
Right. That really speaks to how reliable they are. For someone just wondering if they'll even enjoy the hobby, that low initial cost is definitely appealing.
It really is an incredible value. For that price, the Tracker 4 is, no frills, but it's highly capable, proven track record of finding treasure. Hard to argue with that kind of reliability at that price.
Okay, now the Tracker Pro. It does come with a higher price tag, generally ranging from about $159 to maybe $199.
Bit more of an investment.
A bit more. But here's where it gets really interesting for a beginner. Often, the Tracker Pro is sold as a complete package, a bundle.
Ah, the bundle deal.
Yeah, and this bundle can include stuff like headphones, a pinpointer, that little handheld detector helps you find the target once you've dug the hole.
Essential tool, the pinpointer.
Totally. A digging tool, even a carry bag to keep everything together. When you start adding up the cost of buying all those essential accessories separately,
It adds up fast.
especially when you're just starting and need everything, that Tracker Pro bundle can actually be a very cost-effective way to get fully equipped right from the start.
That bundle approach is definitely smart for newcomers. Takes the guesswork out of figuring out what accessories you need, ensures you have all the essential tools ready to go, no extra shopping trips needed right away.
Okay, now let's think about something a bit more practical day to day. Battery life.
Ah, yes, always important.
The Tracker 4 needs 2 9-volt batteries. Edgerton mentions that, keeping track of 2 separate batteries might be a minor inconvenience for some.
9 volts, okay.
However, he also makes this interesting observation. His Tracker 4 seems to run for an entire day at the beach on one set of batteries. potentially even longer than some more modern digital detectors,
Huh. Interesting.
which would likely include the Tracker Pro. So while it needs 2 batteries, they seem to last quite a while.
That longer battery life on the analog model, it makes sense. Digital detectors, with their screens' more complex processing, they just tend to draw more power.
Right.
So while 29Vs might seem a little less modern than maybe a single battery setup, their longevity can be a real plus for those longer detecting sessions.
On the flip side, the Tracker Pro offers the convenience of a single battery setup.
Simpler.
Definitely simpler in terms of what you need to buy, keep charged, or have on hand. However,
Yeah.
based on Edgerton's observation about those newer digital machines,
Yeah.
it kind of suggests that Tracker Pro might use up batteries a bit faster compared to the IV. So you gain simplicity in battery type, but might need to replace or recharge them more often.
Exactly. It's often that trade-off, isn't it? Simplicity of the power source versus overall power consumption because of the features, the screen, the processing.
Okay, so after looking at all these different angles, performance, interface, cost, batteries, who should actually consider buying which detector?
The big question.
Yeah. Well, based on Edgerton's expert advice, if you're an absolute beginner and you really like the idea of having some guidance from the detector itself, with that visual target ID on the screen to help you learn, reduce that initial feeling of being overwhelmed, then the Tracker Pro bundle is probably the way to go. That target ID feature can really save you time, save you energy, by helping you avoid digging up endless pieces of junk. It can give you some immediate positive feedback as you start finding things.
Yeah, and that visual confirmation can be incredibly encouraging for newcomers. Seeing a potential target category pop up on screen, it gives that immediate sense of success that keeps beginners motivated, wanting to keep learning.
Right. Now, if you're someone who's maybe interested in getting a solid understanding of the fundamentals, the basics of analog metal detecting.
Learning the craft, so to speak.
Exactly. Or maybe you've had a little bit of experience with detectors before. Then the Tracker 4 offers what Edgerton considers just unbeatable value and straightforward simplicity.
The workhorse.
Yep. He even mentions there's something really satisfying about learning to interpret those analog dials, really developing an ear for the subtle audio signals that indicate a good target. It's a more direct, almost intuitive connection to the process.
There's definitely a certain sense of accomplishment that comes with mastering those analog signals. It's a skill, right? Connects you more directly to what the detector's telling you about the ground. Can lead to a deeper appreciation for the art of detection.
And what's really interesting is that Edgerton himself, he actually carries both of these detectors with him.
He uses both. That's telling.
Yeah, he uses the Tracker 4 in those big open areas where he's often looking for deeper, older targets. But then he'll switch to the Tracker Pro when he's in those more crowded, trashy, urban environments.
Where separation is key.
Exactly. Where being able to discriminate targets effectively is absolutely essential. That really illustrates the different strengths each machine brings to the table.
That's a perfect real-world example, isn't it? How each detector can be optimized for different scenarios. The IV for depth and simple operation in cleaner ground, the Pro for handling cluttered sites with its target ID.
So as we start to wrap things up here, it's really worth keeping Paul Edgerton's main point in mind. The best metal detector for you isn't necessarily the most expensive one with all the latest tech.
Not always, no.
Instead, it's the one that really fits your individual way of hunting and, maybe most importantly, gets you excited to actually get outside and use it.
That's such a critical takeaway. The joy of discovery, the time spent outdoors exploring. That's often just as rewarding, if not more so, than the actual items you find.
For sure. So we've taken a good look at 2 excellent options today. The Bounty Hunter Tracker the First, the reliable, proven analog choice, and the Tracker Pro, the more digitally oriented option with that helpful screen.
2 solid contenders.
Both offer fantastic ways to get started in the world of metal detecting without, breaking the bank.
Right.
And each has its own set of advantages and considerations.
Ultimately, the decision between the two, it really boils down to your personal preferences, doesn't it? Your budget, how you prefer to learn new things. Do you want that immediate feedback of a digital display, or are you keen to develop that more nuanced skill of interpreting the analog signals?
And regardless of which one you might lean towards, remember that the real reward, it isn't just the coins or relics you might unearth. It's the whole experience of the hunt itself.
Absolutely.
The exploration, the fresh air, that exciting moment of uncovering something from the past.
Couldn't agree more. Every time you swing that coil, it's a little adventure. a chance to connect with history in a really tangible, exciting way.
Now, if you listening have any firsthand experience using either the Bounty Hunter Tracker the Fourth or the Tracker Pro, we would absolutely love to hear about it.
Yeah, share your thoughts.
Head over to our website, find this deep dive, and share your thoughts and stories in the comments section. Your insights could be incredibly valuable to someone who's just beginning their own metal detecting journey, trying to make that choice.
Definitely. Your real-world experiences can provide just invaluable guidance for folks starting out, trying to make an informed decision.
And finally, as you think about these two detectors, the possibility of uncovering hidden treasures. Maybe consider this. What kind of treasure, beyond just monetary value, are you hoping to find in your own new hobbies or learning experiences?
Interesting question.
Is it the satisfaction of mastering a new skill? The thrill of unexpected discovery? Or maybe something else entirely? It's something to think about even after you finish listening today.